Welcome back, champions. Today we step into the mind of one of history's most astute observers of power, Niccolò Machiavelli. The topic we'll tackle is a question that's as old as leadership itself. Is it better to be feared or loved? Through Machiavelli's sharp lens, we'll explore the art of commanding respect, the delicate balance between fear and love, and how mastering this can shape not only the way you lead, but the way you live. From the shadows of Renaissance Italy, Machiavelli observed the complexities of power in ways that still resonate today. His advice to rulers has often been reduced to cold pragmatism, but there's something far more nuanced beneath the surface. He understood one critical truth: to lead effectively, one cannot depend solely on the goodwill of others. There are moments when love may falter, but fear, if wielded wisely, creates a bond that's much harder to break. Let's start by imagining ourselves as rulers. Whether you're leading a business, a family, or even just your own life, at some point, you'll face the question: do I want people to follow me because they love me or because they fear me? What Machiavelli offers is an uncomfortable answer. When forced to choose between the two, it is better to be feared. But why? Why is fear so powerful? And how can it be balanced in a way that doesn't descend into cruelty? Machiavelli's famous work, The Prince, is where we find his most pointed discussion on this topic. He states, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." These words aren't simply a reflection of Machiavelli's time. They hold relevance even in today's world. Leadership, in any capacity, hinges on stability, and people's affections are fickle. Love can be fleeting, especially when circumstances change. Fear, on the other hand, can be consistent. Fear commands attention. Fear commands respect. Machiavelli did not advocate for the kind of fear that creates hatred. He was far too intelligent for that. He understood that a ruler who inspires hatred will eventually be overthrown. No, Machiavelli's fear is rooted in respect. It's the fear that emerges from a leader's competence, from their decisiveness, from their unshakable sense of authority. It's the kind of fear that makes people hesitate before crossing you, not because they despise you, but because they respect your strength. Machiavelli's views often come across as ruthless, but what he really offers is a clear-eyed view of how power functions. People will act in their own interest. That is human nature. And as a leader, you must recognize this if you are to navigate the often treacherous waters of human relationships. You cannot afford to be naive. You cannot afford to believe that love alone will guarantee loyalty. Now, you may wonder, what's wrong with leading through love? Nothing at all, if the circumstances are right. Machiavelli wasn't dismissing love as a tool for leadership. In fact, he acknowledges that being loved is ideal when paired with fear. The problem arises when love is all you have. Love makes people loyal when things are going well. But what happens when fortunes change? What happens when your leadership requires difficult decisions that may not be popular? Love can evaporate in an instant, leaving you vulnerable to betrayal. But fear, when it's properly cultivated, remains steady. Fear is often misunderstood. It's not about cruelty or domination. It's about creating a presence that others respect and do not wish to challenge. Think about it in terms of boundaries. When people fear you in the right way, they understand that there are limits to how far they can push you. They know that there are consequences to their actions. This fear is rooted in an understanding of your power, your capability, and your resolve. Machiavelli knew that every ruler, and by extension, every individual, must manage their image. How we are perceived by others affects how they treat us. If you are seen as weak, people will test you. If you are seen as indecisive, they will lose confidence in you. But if you are seen as strong, resolute, and capable of imposing consequences, people will think twice before crossing you. This doesn't just apply to rulers in palaces. It applies to each of us in our daily lives. The respect we command is directly linked to how we project ourselves to the world. One of Machiavelli's key insights is that human nature itself is not fixed. People are guided by self-interest, and they will follow the leader they believe offers them the greatest benefit. This can be through love, yes, but more reliably through respect. And respect, my friends, often comes from a healthy dose of fear. When people fear losing your favor, they remain loyal. When they fear the consequences of crossing you, they remain aligned with your vision. This is why fear is more reliable than love. We can see examples of this dynamic throughout history. Take Julius Caesar, for example. He was loved by his soldiers, but it was their fear of his military prowess that kept them so loyal. Or consider Alexander the Great. His men adored him, but they also feared him enough to follow him into impossible battles. Both leaders understood that love and fear together create unbreakable loyalty, but if love fails, fear will hold the line. But here's where Machiavelli's genius really shines. He wasn't advocating for tyranny. He didn't support ruling through terror. He believed in finding that perfect balance where fear does not slip into hatred. He cautioned leaders to avoid being overly cruel, because cruelty breeds resentment. Once people hate you, they plot against you. Machiavelli advised against this, knowing that fear can only be effective when it doesn't breed contempt. It must inspire respect, not rebellion. This is where many misunderstand Machiavelli. He wasn't an advocate of cruelty or manipulation for its own sake. He was a realist who understood that power requires balance. A ruler who is loved but not respected will eventually be undermined. A ruler who is feared but hated will be overthrown. But a ruler who is respected, who knows when to be firm and when to be compassionate, will endure. So how do we, in our own lives, balance these forces? How do we command respect without crossing the line into cruelty? It starts with understanding your own boundaries. You must project strength and clarity in everything you do. People must know where you stand. They must know that you will not be swayed by the fickle winds of opinion. But at the same time, they must know that you are fair, that you are just, and that your strength is not rooted in cruelty, but in discipline. Discipline is the key. Machiavelli understood this well. To lead through fear in the right way, you must be disciplined. You must be consistent. People must know that your strength comes from a place of deep self-control, not from impulsiveness. The fear that Machiavelli spoke of is not the kind that terrorizes. It is the kind that commands respect because it is rooted in competence and authority. And here is the true beauty of Machiavelli's philosophy. It's not about manipulating others. It's about mastering yourself. The leader who can manage their own emotions, who can remain steady in the face of chaos, who can project strength even when things are falling apart. That leader commands fear in the best way possible. They inspire confidence because they are unshakable. They lead not through threats, but through presence. Champions, as we reflect on Machiavelli's wisdom, let's apply it to our own lives. We must ask ourselves, how are we projecting ourselves to the world? Are we relying too much on being liked? Are we sacrificing respect in the pursuit of approval? It's a hard question, but it's one worth asking. Because the truth is, the world doesn't always reward kindness. It rewards strength. It rewards those who are clear about their values, about their limits, and about the consequences of crossing them. This doesn't mean you should abandon compassion. On the contrary, true power comes from knowing when to be compassionate and when to be firm. It's about understanding that love and fear are tools in your leadership toolkit. Use them wisely, and you can command loyalty that endures. But rely too heavily on one or the other, and you risk losing control. Think about your own life, your own leadership. Maybe it's in the workplace, maybe it's in your relationships, or maybe it's simply in the way you govern yourself. Are you commanding respect, or are you seeking approval? Are people following you because they admire your strength, or because they think you're easy to sway? These are the questions Machiavelli forces us to confront. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes, being loved isn't enough. Sometimes, we must be willing to be feared, to stand our ground even when it's not popular. We must be willing to let go of the need for approval and embrace the power that comes with being respected. This is the core of Machiavelli's lesson. It's not about cruelty, it's about clarity. It's about knowing who you are and what you stand for, and being unafraid to project that strength into the world. As you move forward, remember that the path to true leadership is not about choosing between love and fear, but about mastering the balance between the two. The respect you command will come not just from your ability to inspire, but from your willingness to stand firm in the face of opposition. It's about knowing when to be kind and when to be unyielding, understanding that true strength lies in the control of your actions and the perception you project. So, as you lead, whether it's in your personal life or in the larger world, never forget that power is not given. It is earned through discipline, decisiveness, and the courage to walk the line between being feared and being loved. The world will often ask you to be soft, to be accommodating, to be lovable. But sometimes, the world needs you to be strong, to be firm, and yes, to be feared. Fear, when it is rooted in respect, is not something to shy away from. It's something to embrace. It's something to master. If you found value in today's lesson, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. This is more than just a simple action. It's a commitment to surround yourself with content that sharpens your mind and strengthens your resolve. Also, take the time to explore our other videos, each offering ancient wisdom designed to help you master your own life. Until next time, champions, stay strong and stay committed to your path.